Welcome to another episode of Cookie Jar FX. I am your host, Eric Foreman, and we are doing our midweek check in on the market. This is kind of going to be a collaboration of the midweek and the end of week analysis. I'll definitely still probably do one tomorrow, but more than likely it'll just be Sunday. This week kind of got the best of me on my schedule, outside the market, and yeah, I didn't get a chance to post it on Wednesday. But yeah, definitely wanted to share some insight and some perspective on this week, and what we got accomplished and what's looking good so far, the challenges we face, the mistakes I've made, and still learning on that. Just a quick note: I am working on building out some of my portfolio into crypto now. I did. I was big into the crypto when it first was becoming a big thing back in 2017. We are now in 2020. But there's some things that I've been engaged in some conversations about that has allowed me to pull those things back into my portfolio for a nice outlook for the rest of this year and sometime into next year and maybe beyond. So that's been a little bit of my focus this past week. So I definitely apologize, but the goal is to still make some money. So ain't no apology probably fully necessary. Um, so just to kind of jump in, right? So we were when we looked at the market on Sunday, and I got this date wrong, so my apologies on that. If I'm not mistaken, Sunday was the 17th, 18th, I believe. I'm looking at it now. Sunday was the 16th. So yeah. So I'll just edit that real quick. But anyways, so when we was looking at New Zealand dollar, dollar CAD, pound Aussie, Aussie New Dollar, Aussie New Zealand. But if you guys remember, I had immediately took positions in pound Aussie Sunday night and dollar CAD. So our pound Aussie trade has been working out um, quite well. It dragged out a little bit. We had some nice little upside, and then we pulled back down. It just kind of consolidated. But pretty much since yesterday's close, we had a nice push up. Um, and I am currently up roughly about 115 pips. 114, 113 is floating in that area. But if you guys remember, we have to break this 23.6 level. But primarily, we're trading our strategy of the cone trade, right? So remember, the cone trade is a break of the 8, all the way targeting at least up to the 20. But just keep in mind, as I said, this 23.6 level is in the way. So we may tap it and then reject back down, or we may completely break the 20 because, of course, moving averages are meant to be broken, and then shoot all the way up to the 50 MA and see some nice little price action. So that current trade on pound to Aussie got me up about $40 or so, from my 5 cent position. Now that's the only thing that I do not like about trading pound Aussie, pound New Zealand, because the the pip per value dollar amount or currency amount and regains to profit, it just it's not worth it. Um, so like I'm up 113. Let's just say let's call it 120, 110. Um, so if I have a 5 cent position, I should see half of that in my account. But of course, we're not at half. Like it should be roughly what $55 or so. But I'm at 40, so they shortened me about 15 beans. So yeah, I think that's the only issue with trading some of these big exotics. The pip value was the pip volume would show differently from the actual pip value a trader would be getting. So I'm just gonna play it. I didn't close it because I haven't reached my target, or at least my bare minimum target, which is up to that 20 in May. Um, so I'm just letting it ride out, even if I'm getting a smaller profit amount. The trade is the trade. I'm in it. I'm winning, and just calling it a day. That dollar CAD trade didn't work out. I had to close it out immediately. We can kind of peek at that now. Um, right, but we did ended up breaking price down a bit further and early in the week, and I didn't like it. Um, I just kind of felt uncomfortable about it, so I ended up just closing the trade. I do have to again, and I think I addressed it before. I have to see what's going on with my profile on my account because some trades, especially with like euro dollar, sometimes like I can't put a stop loss. It blocks me from putting a stop loss, which doesn't make any sense. I should be able to put a stop loss even one pip below if I wanted to, but it's always giving me this notification off quote, and I don't know what that means. I don't understand that. So yeah, we'll begin at address, but again, glad I got it a dollar CAD because it dropped down and we saw this little bullish move here from Wednesday, and it didn't really turn out to be much, and price ended up is starting to push its way back down again. So yeah, not looking too good on that. I figured since we was at the 200 on the weekly and the 50 on the monthly, we may see some activity, at least to the upside, and it may happen. Tomorrow's close might give us a nice little surprise. But as of right now, price has been working against. Um, if you guys remember, with euro dollar, right? I had mentioned that if we get into this resistance area, we're gonna sell. So I ended up getting into this. I think taking a position. I know I definitely took it on my own personal account and took a little bit of a loss because I closed the trade. We had broke this high, and I just didn't like that. Like I'm just like that's not a part of my strategy. It's not a part of my plan. So we ended up breaking a high from this candlestick from Tuesday, and instead of like I recognize that it may go down, but as you guys know, for the past 2 weeks at this point, I've been fighting euro dollar on a nice potential sell, and it still hasn't given it. But again, like as soon as I got out the trade, we had a nice little move to the downside, um, and then yeah, and then a little bit of a follow through on it, and now we broke below, and now we're pulling back right into this 20. So I had took a position earlier in the day, which I was in profit for, um, but then price decides to pull back up, and I figured it was gonna retrace at least into this 20, this 4 hour 20 MA, which is flattening now, which is good. So we're coming right into that area now. So I just added a position, but of course, traders make mistakes, and I'm being so fast and quick. I didn't realize I had put a point 10. Remember, I'm supposed to only be trading 5 cents. So yeah, I could have closed it, can close it, but it doesn't make sense to take an unnecessary loss if I'm uh, initiating that I'm going to be winning on this trade. So we'll see how it goes. The main thing with euro dollar is that it needs to break this 20. Um, Once it breaks this 20, it is game over. And I think again the market makers are really holding price so that it doesn't. But the way it's looking on the weekly, I have a lot going on here, so I need to remove some stuff. Um, the way it's going here on the weekly is just, and I'll move the MAs. I mean the Fibs for now. So we got this extended top and tail. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. We're on our ninth candlestick. Now, if you guys remember my playbook, right? Um, One of the playbooks is I don't have it up right now, but one of my playbooks is the 10 bar max. So we know that a run up on this amount of candlesticks just doesn't last. But right now we're finishing. We may finish the week off with a topping tail. That would be great because then it will confirm for sure a sell. We're starting to get a lot of wicks up top here. So yeah, I'm hoping some price rejection, and obviously we're also in a major resistance area. Still, all of this was a sell zone. Um, so yeah, we'll see what happens. I have my positions in for the short, and again, once the main thing is breaking this daily 20 MA. Once we break and close below the 20, I think we're gonna be looking at quite a sizable bar on this trade. And it's not even about me missing out. It's just I definitely want this trade, and it's setting up nicely. So I think we'll probably be and hopefully be good tomorrow. Some other pairs that we were looking at from this week was New Zealand dollar for the short. Uh, I see that worked out a little bit. It dragged. Zoom in a little bit. So price moved down and then it moved back up. Then we got this big wick, and then price obviously broke the low. So it worked, but we looking at the weekly cone trade, right? So that was the thing that we were looking at to pay attention to. And if you see, we're still in the midst of the cone trade, so we're still below the 8, and price is still working down at least to the 50. So we'll see what comes from it. Um, but again, I'm not personally trading that at this moment. I haven't traded it all week. Aussie New Zealand was another pick. For short, we had extended, no prior history of ever breaking that weekly RSI level. So did it break the weekly RSI level? And no, we're still there. Um, so again, I mentioned in the notes, watch for the reversal signals, right? So if we pay attention here, and I'll just enlarge my screen. If we pay attention here, this is pretty much an M formation. And when I say an M formation, this is part of my playbook too, that I've adapted from Steve Morrow's. So now we're kind of on the second leg, right? So this candlestick that's forming now, if it doesn't break this previous high here, like if it doesn't break that high, it's pretty much set as an MA, M formation. I mean, and we'll start working price downward. But again, this candlestick has to break this 8, get a little lower, and then we'll kind of be able to make some things happen. But yeah, overall, the cone trade is still valid on this. Um, I mean, not this wasn't the cone trade. I think this was the break, right? So to extend it from the MAs, never broke through the 70 RSI level. So we'll kind of see what happens. But so far, that is an information that we are currently looking at. And then we have some railroad tracks there. So there's some potential there still. Um, I think it dragged out a little bit for the week. So hopefully no one got caught up in that trap. But for the most part, the trade is good. Um, and I think that was primarily it I was looking at currently. So again, just kind of backtracking again on my portfolio. We are now a little less than 30% on equities right now, or 30% on the negative. So we're 30% in the red on the account for the month. Just about. Again, I'm gonna push to finish the month off in the net positive, or at least back to break even. I'm pretty confident that I can. We have a little bit of time left on that, so we got this week finishing up, and then I obviously have next week. So pretty much one more week to finish the month out. So it would have to be next week that I close out and get back in profit. But again, I see it being possible. Um, and if I don't, I don't. Like, but I'll rather cut into this negative this negative month to start and size it down a little bit. So that's my perspective. But again, where we are in pound Dorsey, looking pretty good. So I'll go back to that trade. So pound Aussie cone trade up to the 20 at least. Currently up 108 pips. Um, could have added another position. I didn't want to on this particularly. But if we break this 23.6 level, that would be a nice add opportunity there. So I would be putting like, not me personally, but like for any trader suggestions, I would be putting any buy stops there to just potentially, when price breaks through, you're able to take that move to the upside. So still some great potential there. Uh, at the bare minimum, we should be looking at, from my entry, at least 240 pips on the gain to the 20. And then if we take it all the way up to the 50, that's about 570 pips for the win. But again, I'm not in no rush for this trade. So I might end up just letting it rock out. Like, see if we can, if we break this 20, I'm definitely going to just let it ride out to at least the weekly 50. So we're good on that. And then backtracking again on euro dollar, uh, we're looking good as long as we don't break through this price area. This is a 3 bar stack right here, or what we call a 3 bar elephant, a 3 stacked elephant bar, meaning that if we put all of these 3 candlesticks together, it's the biggest candlestick in representation from previous history, in comparison to previous history. And right now we're getting a flat 20 um, that's setting up a resistance. We can also put out the fibs. And if we look at the fib levels from the high to the low um, of this week, we are currently tied directly into the 50 fib level. And that's something that I just noticed. So, even more confirmation, even more validation that we should be seeing some downside on this. And that 50 fib level ties a little bit into the 4 hour 20 in May. So, yeah, I think that's mostly it. I am definitely looking forward to some good trading to close out for this week. As I said, the goal is to be net positive by the 31st and get it rocking and rolling, and just have some fun there. But that's about it, because we are somewhat pretty much now into Friday market. I'll be sending you guys Sunday video, and yeah, we'll go over the week. And I'll try to make sure, not try, but I'll make sure that I do my Wednesday video and post that, and then do Friday's video and try to stay consistent on that for sure, for sure. Just bear with me as I still adapt to not only a crazy schedule, crazy life, kids are back in school, juggling that. There's a lot going on, and a brother just making it work. So, yeah, just happy trading, super success, and just keep pushing through. Make sure you click that subscribe button, click that like button, show some support. Send it to a friend or family member that might be interested in looking into trade. I know a lot of people that are really getting into how to make money online, whether it's through YouTube analytics and really just studying YouTube pages and how to grow their page and social media, to actually trading foreign currencies, trading cryptocurrencies, trading stocks, um, how to start an online website, a blog, coding. Like, there's a wealth of stuff that people are getting into now because the idea of jobs are almost non-existent now. And if people are at home, mostly on their computers, on their phones, why not try to find a way to make some money? So, yeah, so I definitely uh, open the idea of teaching, and not me personally, but just really educating and connecting family and friends to this type of material and information, because it can change their lives. But thank you again for joining. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support, and I will catch you guys on our weekly brownie bite on Sunday. Be on the lookout for that full perspective, and let's continue to make some money and get the success and build out our personal development and really push forward. All right, y'all, have a good one.